We're on.
And welcome back, everyone, to the MOSEF Fall Brawl. We had a bit of a technical difficulty, but we're back. We're good to go. If you look on the top of your screen, Hickman only able to get 2 points on their attacking side, as well as get 45 meters to it, which, in the whole scheme of things, is not that much.
Yeah, so the game did go on without us. It was just a broadcast booth problem that we had there. So
Yeah.
thankfully for the state of the finals, they were able to keep playing. We don't know exactly what happened, but we know Hickman pushed 45 meters past point 2. So Blue Spring South on their attack run has to better that, and we will see if they do. They're running pretty much the same comp that they were running on defense, as far as we can tell, and same thing for Hickman. So definitely teams are sticking with what they know here. Leitmotiv out way in front of his team there for a second. And as the fight starts, we're just going to see who can get that first key pick.
Oh, Hill Lewis gets blocked off by the Maywall. That is really, really big. Blue Spring South has to fall back quite a little bit, though. Leitmotiv swinging the hammer, looks to do a bit of damage. By bit, I mean a whole lot of... Hold on a second here. The Maywall goes up yet again, not quite as effective as last time, but it's still able to take down Hale Lewis, as Base Butter will end their life.
Yeah, we were seeing the Blue Springs team playing really well around the statue there for a while until Get Real got that key Maywall and was able to take out both DPS now of the Blue Springs team. So great job on May from Get Real there. So the reset here, Banjo being a little sneaky. He wants that shatter that he's going to get here. Oh, actually going for a charge. Unfortunately missed it. Could have been really good to get the Reinhardt out of position from the Blue Springs team, but they're just going to kind of do the same thing again here, hopefully, for Hickman.
Blue Springs having a tough time making it past this big pillar. Hill Lewis finally able to grab some frags. It's Nabi and Motive getting some as well. The charge completely misses, and in comes the artillery strike. This should be the end of the Reinhardt, but no! Baptiste comes in, swoops in, and saves his man in the nick of time.
Yeah, so we actually saw a shatter come off from Banjo in that fight. I know he got 1 or 2 on it. There's a return one from Leitmotiv. Leitmotiv's going actually pretty much the same as Banjo. So both times from these shatters, the other team actually ended up getting kills. Very, very interesting here. Leitmotiv, the only one left alive for his team, and he quickly goes down. So it's very strange how those team fights just worked. But we see Banjo already on another shatter here almost from the Hickman side. One fire strike will get him up to it. And they also have the Lucio sound barrier on both teams and the Bastion ult from Hill Lewis on Blue Spring South, which is getting used now.
And then it comes clearing out the site. Freon gives Mr. Big Guy the business. Banjo
blocked.
Has the Earth Shatter as well, but like you said, it is blocked, and it is a perfect charge. But Leitmotiv gets charged right back into the corner. And in comes Blue Springs, trying to hold it down, looks to steal it away. And I think Hickman is going to try to push onto it at the last second, and that they do. No chance for Nabi to get out of it, but look at Hill Lewis. So much damage is done. It's going to unlock the payload. Barely.
Yeah, Hill Lewis able to just finally clean that up there at the end. Unfortunately, just not enough members of Hickman left with enough substantiation to keep that fight going and keep the payload. So Blue Springs on the payload, 3.5 minutes to push nearly to the end. We can finally see actually how far on the progress Hickman was able to go. So they got pretty close to the end there, probably about the last bend of that last piece of payload. So we'll see how well point B goes. I will say typically Kings Row point B goes pretty quick.
Yeah, it really does, especially with an incredibly aggressive team such as Blue Springs. This should be over in an instant unless Hickman can go crazy.
Wow.
But with how Hill Lewis is playing, it does not look like that's going to happen. A huge hammer right to the butt of May. And just like that, payload's over halfway to B. And I really do not like how Hickman could not get it that way to C. Not just that they couldn't get it to C, they didn't really even get that close, about 2/3 of the way.
Yeah, so Hill Lewis and Nabi have just been MVPs for this Blue Springs South team. Their DPS just constantly showing up and taking those key portions of the fight. Obviously, their supporters or their support is keeping them up the whole way, but we have just seen them execute over and over again on these fights, and they continue to. So Nabi gets the pick early on, Get Real there on the May, but Hill Lewis gets another one on the enemy Bastion. Base Butter taking down Nabi before the fight ends. Is Hickman going to be able to continue to contest? It looks like no. B goes to Blue Spring South.
And with almost 4 minutes to go, less than 50 meters, that is just a football field. You know, we're Americans. We got to measure in football fields.
Absolutely.
This should be Blue Springs map. Like, no doubt about it. Hickman is going to need to pull out all the stops to deny Blue Springs. How are you going to do that? The glowing spot's already there, and they've barely started pushing.
A good shatter there from from Banjo, Mr. Big Guy. Combo there with the ults. I don't know, though. I think Blue Spring South able to just get, nope, just kidding. Mr. Big Guy cleans it up. Mr. Big Guy does finish really strong there. Banjo helping him out. Hickman able to reset on that one. 3 minutes left for Blue Spring South to push just a few meters. So the payload is right about where I thought it was on that last bend on the point there. So just really one team fight as of right now from Blue Spring South. In their favor is gonna end this match. Excuse me, map.
This payload starts rolling backwards, though. Light Motive can't quite get it done. A lot of damage gets taken to him. And it's Peaches to get credit for the last kill. Nabi, no chance to get away. Hill Lewis has to run. They're kind of split up. They manage to avoid the charge, but Get Real does more than enough to take said Bastion down.
Yeah, Hickman being really aggressive there. Got a little worried for Banjo. Would have been a big loss if Banjo had gone down, but his team able to keep him up, and they did win that team fight very handedly and pushed really aggressively out. So they are doing a good job so far of keeping this defense down to 2 minutes for the Blue Springs South side. Leitmotif and Creon with their ults up. No ults at the right now, except for the Bastion one that just came online for Hickman. So we'll see how it goes.
Hill Lewis shot down to a very low amount of HP. In goes the Bastion window, or the Baptiste window, rather. And down goes the immortality field of Peaches. Nabi barely gets out of the artillery strike to stay alive. They're starting to push that payload back a little bit further. It's a huge blizzard. Mr. Big Guy is so good right now. Lucio is the last one to fall, but Sonic Mojito gets a double kill. Banjo has to run all the way away. And my goodness, Banjo's hindered. How in the world does he survive for that long?
Tucker, Get Real might have been the MVP of that last fight. Leitmotif hit a giant shatter, had multiple members of the Hickman team down, but Get Real's Blizzard had already gone out, and the Reinhardt was in it. He was not able to capitalize on his great ult that he had. So great job from Get Real there on keeping the team at bay. Unfortunately, it is not enough for this fight, as it looks like Blue Spring South is going to clean it up. Hickman on a ball. We have seen this before from another team. We saw Wellington Napoleon try the same thing. We'll see if it works out better for Banjo, but he is going to go down here. See if any of his other team members can contest. Looks like Lucio's on and down, and this point goes to Blue Spring South.
2-0. Mike, Blue Springs is only one map away from taking it all the way to the grand finals. Play of the game going to go to Hill Lewis.
No surprise
and
there.
Honestly, there's just so many picks that you can choose. But the artillery strike had got to be it. Gets 1, 2, 3 with the artillery strike, and then another, and then a fifth. It's unbelievable stuff from the Bastion yet again. And they put themselves on match point. The semifinals is almost theirs. They just have to push the payload one more time.
Yeah, so Hickman has to look for the return sweep here. Needs to really get the number of this enemy Blue Spring South team, especially those DPS. They really have to shut down Nabi and Hill Lewis early. Those two are just getting to go I can't think of the words that I'm trying to say. They're going to run amok. They're unchecked against this Hickman team. And Hickman just needs to really find a way to shut them down to be able to take advantage of this team. So moving into Escort, we are going to be on the next map here as Dorado. So heading down into Central America and going to Dorado here. So excited to see the Escort map come out, hoping this is going to be Hickman's start at a reverse sweep here to see some competition in this. We want to go to map 5 all the time, always. We always love to see a close match. So what are we looking forward to in Dorado here?
You know you got to see the map 5. But Dorado, Escort, this is the one that got really, really close for Wellington Napoleon when they went up against Blue Spring.
Yeah, they were different maps then.
To be fair, King's Row was absolutely close on Hybrid, not quite as close as Wellington Napoleon. And yes, you are absolutely right. It is a different map. Last time was Shambali. This one is Dorado, which is absolutely a very different map, but still that same game mode. Typically, Jaguars push the payload incredibly efficiently, so I'm expecting a very similar setup for Dorado. However, the map might be a little bit different. They might have a bit of struggle with it. The poke comp was working out really, really well in map one, as well as against Wellington Napoleon. I'm kind of struggling to see why they turned away from it so easily.
Yeah, I definitely think we're going to see that poke cop coming out from Blue Springs South here in Dorado, especially on their defense run. There's a lot of high ground, not only at the beginning of this map, but really throughout. So I definitely expect Blue Springs South to take advantage of that. Whereas Hickman, I think, is going to try and get in on them and brawl very quickly. So that would be my prediction. Is we're going to see that brawl versus poke again. Unfortunately, Blue Springs South has just been dominant with that poke comp. So I don't know if Hickman's going to be able to take him down with the brawl that they want to run here. So
Yeah, I know that whenever they were playing their Sigma and Ash, that it went really well. And they switched it up on the start of Hybrid, where they went with the Reinhardt and then the Cassidy, which is kind of more of a hybrid composition, if you would agree with that.
who Reinhardt Cassidy?
Reinhardt
Yeah, sure.
Cassidy, you have like a little bit more long
Yeah,
range,
it's a
but like
modified brawl.
Reinhardt is still the brawler.
Right.
You're not going to get much more brawly than Reinhardt. He doesn't have a gun.
Correct.
He doesn't have
Just a
a
rocket hammer.
projectile. He just has a hammer. So of course, Cassidy, you can do quite a bit at long range. The Deadeye is arguably one of the best long range ults in the game because you don't need to aim.
Right.
It's very similar with the tactical visor for Soldier 76.
Yeah, we saw Hickman playing really well around a Deadeye out of Blue Springs South. Nabi unable to get anything with a Deadeye there at the end of King's Row. So great job to Hickman for playing around that. So if we do see the Cassidy coming out in the future, I think they've kind of got the ult at least figured out. Like you said, Deadeye really good ult offensively. Unfortunately, it is pretty hard to land. It's very easy to exploit and get away from. Hickman definitely has that figured out. So what we need to see from them right now is just being able to execute and get the right targets down early. So we need to see them take out either the supports on the Blue Springs South side so that their team doesn't have support, or we need to see them get quick picks on those DPS so that they don't have that damage output that we've been seeing Blue Springs South is very famous for.
It's another reverse sweep series that is needed for Blue Springs opponent. But before we get into map 3, we're going to take a quick break. So make sure you don't go anywhere. You want to see how the series ends. It's only one more map that Blue Springs need to take, and we're going to be on to the grand finals. Hickman High School is on their last life, so make sure you stick around to see if they can complete the streak and get that reverse sweep, take it 3-2, or if it's going to be a clean sweep. See you soon.
welcome back, everybody. We did let our kids have a little bit of a break there on the stage, so we are back and ready to possibly finish, excuse me, this semifinals match here. We're gonna jump into Dorado and see what Blue Spring South and what Hickman have to bring us on this match. So looks like we're gonna start off with Hickman on attack for now. So we are gonna probably see Blue Spring South with that dominant poke comp on the high ground that we have seen from them throughout all of today. So
I am excited to see it. I'm expecting another one of those poke comp attempts from Blue Spring. I want to see a bit more of a commitment because we talked very briefly before the break about how Blue Spring was going with more of a modified brawler rather than the full-on poke comp, because the McCree was definitely there. You can play long range with the Cassidy, but I like the Sigma so much more. It looks so clean for Blue Spring South that I don't understand why they switched off of him at all.
So this is the first time Hickman coming into this knowing that Blue Spring South is going to play that bunker style poke comp that they're so dominant in. So Hickman going full dive here with Sojourn, Genji, Lucio, Kiriko, and Winston. It is the first time we're actually seeing the poke get countered here by a dive comp. So hopefully that is going to work out for Hickman. On paper, it should be dominating here. So Hickman's goal is to jump on to Blue Spring South's back line and keep them from doing anything with their long range poke. So we're going to see how well they execute.
We're going to have to see. Nabi bringing out the Ash once again. This is what I really like to see.
Get Real sneaking up behind over there.
Ooh, a nice little bit of flankage. Get Real climbing up that wall. Hill Lewis, though, catches it out. And Get Real barely survives. Thankfully, there's a health pad there. The immortality field is very, very nice. No kills coming out for Get Real. Nobody can clear them out either, though. And it's a headshot straight to Lewis. Hickman gonna win this first team fight, and with how quick this payload's going, Blue Springs might not even be able to respawn in time.
Yeah, well done there by Hickman. That definitely was exactly how they wanted that play to go. So they had to Get Real, go behind, tried to get a little bit of a surprise on him. It didn't work out in that way, but it did distract them, and it let the rest of the Hickman team jump on and start getting those eliminations. And now we see Blue Spring South come back in with a D.Va to kind of counter that with the high mobility of D.Va. And they're trying to stop the point here. They do pick up one, but take one in return. Take another one from Banjo. Looks like Hickman might have the numbers here to finish up this fight and take point A.
Yeah, Light Motive's doing everything they can to stay alive, but down goes the mech and down goes the D.Va inside of it. First checkpoint reached. They still have 5 minutes to get the next two. Incredibly quick, insanely efficient from Hickman. I really like what I'm seeing. We thought Blue Springs North should have just a very easy time with this escort map, but Hickman has other plans.
Yeah, so great job by Hickman. Again, they came into this knowing, hey, this is exactly what Blue Spring South is going to do. We saw it in the last match. We know that this is what they want to do. We know they're good at it. So we're going to play a comp that counters that. And that's exactly what they're doing. We do see some changes out of Blue Spring South with that D.Va, the Kiriko on there. A couple of differences from that poke comp that they were running before. And it's just not enough right now. So they are able to clean up that team fight. It was a bit of a weird one all over the place there. So Banjo's still picking up some kills in the back for Hickman. So not quite over. The payload, though, has been moving this whole time and has made it about halfway through to point B.
Despite everything that went right for Blue Spring South, they could not stop the payload, which is a really tough spot to be in because, yeah, you can get all the kills you want, but it's not team deathmatch. It's escort. You got to move that payload. And Hickman might have lost 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 players, but they kept that payload moving the entire time, and they are only 1/8 away from that second checkpoint. Deadeye comes out from the Cassidy, not quite able to do as much as they would have wanted it to, but the D.Va and Kiriko Creon teaming up, getting a couple of kills, and pushing Hickman back. And the ultimate is up for D.Va.
Yeah, a lot of ults coming online for both teams here. Great play there by Blue Spring South. Able to just get a couple of key members. Even though they lost Sonic Mojito on Lucio, they were able to get Banjo off the tank and get one of the DPS quickly on the Hickman side to win that fight. So there's a lot of ults online. I imagine Leitmotiv not going to use his offensively and would rather keep it for a quick reset if he gets demech. So we see Mr. Big Guy pop the overclock on Sojourn. Get Real helps him pick one up. D.Va jumping over onto him, though. Both Kiriko's pop ult, and looks like Hickman is coming out on top.
Seems like it. Hill Lewis, though, has a couple of headshots, but it's not good enough to stay alive. Mr. Big Guy gets taken down. Nerf this. Huge. No way killed. Somehow everyone survives with it, and they're immediately right back on the payload. They get into cover. As soon as the mech explodes, they are right back on that payload, and Leitmotiv is stuck in the rock and a hard place. Somehow the mech has not fallen just yet, but eventually they're going to run out of time. Primal Rage from Banjo is good enough to grab one. Leitmotiv is eventually driven out of their mech, as well as the person inside. One more player left alive on the payload, denying it. I believe that is the Lucio, but eventually the Lucio has to fall.
Yeah,
or has to run.
Blue Spring South doing a great job of keeping this payload. Finally, both of the sports fall, and Hickman is going to go ahead and take point B there. Hickman just took too long to demech that D.Va in between fights, and she was there totally alone and able to stay alive long enough that her team was able to make it back, and her supports were able to make it back and keep her up. So a lot of ults coming online for Hickman here. They want to use these offensively and keep this momentum going that they have. But Blue Spring South has a couple defensively too. We saw Leitmotiv switch onto the Winston as a mirror here. So actually almost once again a full mirror. The only difference being the Genji versus the Cassidy. But I would favor the Genji here, honestly, as a straight-up matchup.
One for one, and another Deadeye. Nabi gets taken down before it can go off. Banjo has a double kill. Leitmotiv trying to keep this fight close, but they are simply getting swarmed out. They cannot get away, which also, we forgot to mention, switch off of the D.Va onto the Winston, and it does not work out for them very well. Hickman has 2 minutes and a half to get onto that last checkpoint, which is at this point about 10 meters away.
Yeah, it looks like we've finally seen Hickman wake up in this matchup. Hickman finally really dominant in this and controlling every fight here the way they wanted to, only losing a couple. Sonic Mojito going for sound barrier for the Blue Spring South side, going to keep their team up. Lightbox keep picking up a couple. Looks like that's going to be a clean fight win for Blue Spring South, but will Hickman have enough resources and ultimates to take the fight afterward?
That's going to be the question. Payload's going to move back, so this gives Blue Spring South a little bit of a chance to breathe. A couple of ultimates that they can use. They have the Fox of Kiriko as well as the Overclock from Sojourn. We've seen Hill Lewis go crazy with it a little bit earlier. We absolutely can see it again. Primal Rage is really close to being online as well, which could be the make or break last fight of this map, considering how good it is of simply moving players away from a certain point. If you don't want someone there, pop your Primal Rage. They're going to have a hard time fighting you off.
Yeah, so Banjo goes down there to Nabi. Looks like Blue Spring South has the numbers in this fight for now. I believe they're 1 over, and that's 2 now. Base Butter goes down as Lucio, and Nabi's going to clean that up. So another fight win for Blue Spring South. Hickman going to come back with 2 ults with the Dragon Strike and the Winston Primal Rage. Unfortunately, not a lot of synergy on the Hickman team now that they've kind of lost that momentum. They don't have a lot of ultimates that pair together well, and they just burned their sound barrier and the Kiriko ult, so not a lot of support offensively as well. Meanwhile, on the Blue Spring South side, again, not a lot of synergy, but defense is always easier, you know, and they have a major spawn advantage here.
They don't see the Winston, and they get quite a bit of space pushed up. Unfortunately, they do catch them out eventually, but it takes way too long. That payload is going to get taken up a little bit further, and Hickman could not keep Winston alive for too long, or for long enough to really make that much of an impact. So we're going to roll that payload back just one more time, and it comes down to this last team fight to see if Hickman's going to get that third point or not.
Yeah, sneaky from Banjo there. Unfortunately, it didn't work. I wonder if he's... Nope, they're all actually going underneath right now. You can see they're crouching a little bit. They can't hear the other team when they're crouching, so we see Blue Spring South kind of rotating down. But Winston's there again, Banjo on the point. I'm surprised we didn't see Hickman switch comps, honestly. I think it would have benefited them here at the end when we saw this dive just kind of stop working into the mirror dive match. Blue Spring South has just been playing it better at this point, and we can see they're going to clean it up, and Hickman is just not going to be able to finish here. Once again, pushing nearly to the end of the escort map.
As there it is. Blue Spring South after a really hard fight through the first 2 points, they start to find their footing, and they are going to deny Hickman their 3rd point. However, Hickman gets quite far, 78.33. That means Blue Spring South is pretty much going to have to push it the entire way if they want to take this series in a sweep.
Yeah, it's definitely not gonna. It's not
the
over yet
easiest.
for Hickman here. Blue Spring South still has to push all the way to the end, pretty much, like you said, Tucker. And that's a tall order. I mean, it is always difficult to do that, whether your team is a top 8 in the state or not. So we're gonna see if Hickman can play a little bit better on defense. I'm curious as to what they're going to go. We haven't really seen too much out of them defensively any different yet. But again, this is a very different map. It's got a lot of high ground. I expect them to play a little bit more to it. It looks like they're just going to run that same dive comp, though, on defense. And Blue Spring South is sticking with it on offense as well. So in this mirror match, though, we have only seen Blue Spring South winning. So I'm not sure that Hickman should stay on this comp throughout this defensive match here.
No, I think they need to go with something a little more brawly. I would like to see the Reinhardt come out, because whenever it's really anybody versus Reinhardt, Blue Springs can't make it happen. The only thing that Blue Springs can do about Reinhardt is to switch back to Reinhardt, which means they're going to have to play a composition that they don't really want to play. We've seen them brawl before. They're really good at it, but that is Hickman's comfort zone.
Yep. I agree. So I think, yes, I think that switching to a brawl here and forcing the fight on the payload and away from the high ground from this other team, where they won't be able to really dive if the Rhein's playing well, kind of like we saw Wellington Napoleon do in the match earlier. I think that would be the best move, although right now it's seeming to work out in Hickman's favor. Blue Spring South only make a little bit of progress here. Did lose one early. Unfortunately, Blue Spring South has that spawn advantage here, so losing one isn't a huge deal if the rest of the team stays up.
Oh, huge play by Leitmotiv, catching out Base Butter in the small room. You know, maybe in an open field, Lucio might win that one, but no, not in the small room. The monkey going to get you every time. Shocking is close range. Sojourn cannot survive. Hill Lewis barely getting away, healed up. Winston still hot on his trail, but they're taking so much damage from everyone else. There's no more tanks, and there is no more Hickman. This side's going to get pushed a little bit further in.
Yeah, we are watching both sides getting a lot of kills here in this opening fight, but Blue Spring South does come out on top and is able to really push the payload a long way. Hickman definitely going to contest here before, and not let it get there, but we're going to see if they win that fight. They need to win this fight here to stay alive for the foreseeable future on this map.
Another big fight taking place right alongside of the fountain.
Get real comes down a little early in that fight. Not great for Hickman to hope to contest this, but doing okay for now. Banjo behind gets one. Base Butter gets one on point as well, so they can possibly turn it around.
Hill Lewis has the Dragon Blade up as well if they choose to use it. Banjo goes primal, smacking everything in sight. A lot of damage done and a lot of space taken up off of that cart. It is a beautiful ultimate before Banjo finally gets back out of their overheal. Manages to stay alive a little bit more, but the Dragon Blade is absolutely beautiful, taking down both supports as well as the monkey battle gets won by Blue Spring South. This should be the first point, and it is.
Yeah, I think this is the time where Hickman needs to decide, hey, this comp is not working into the mirror match, and we need to try something different because they have consistently been losing these fights overall. So we do see nobody switching on either side here. So straight up mirror match, every person on both teams. Leitmotif and Creon and Sonic Mojito got ults coming up, whereas we have almost the same ults on the Hickman side. So Mr. Big Guy getting an early pick onto Creon on a support, that's big. But Hill Lewis coming up from behind kind of here.
Primal Rage is online for Leitmotiv, but they choose not to use it. Mr. Big Guy has a double kill in the back pocket. And Navi gonna fall back. Winston, though, not gonna let it happen. Banjo hunting them down. Get real, forcing Creon out into the grave. And it's Navi's the last to fall. Hickman pushing up so far. They don't want to abandon the payload too much, but at the same time, they want to keep Blue Springs as at bay as they can, if that makes sense.
Yeah, very aggressive by Hickman there, but smart of them when to back off there. Good pick on the Leitmotif. That's big to lose their Winston there. So we know Banjo's going to go aggressive here again and take out Hill Lewis early. and just really kind of dominate this fight once again here. So maybe Hickman has finally found their stride. Maybe this more open here with a lot of places to hide is for them, and they can make this comp work to their advantage.
Yeah, a couple of ults on the side of Blue Springs North, but the real kicker is Hickman has all 5 of them available.
Yeah, they've won 2 fights without using any.
Yeah.
So they're hoping to just do that again. But we do see Mr. Big Guy pop his overclock. And the Blade comes out. Blade getting one, and Banjo picking up another. Banjo consistently in the back line of Blue Spring South here, picking up kills on those support. Get Real chasing down the enemy Genji. Ooh, one hit. Got him.
Primal Rage, though, from Leitmotif is able to get 1 kill. And unfortunately, they are the last Blue Spring South player that's even anywhere close to that cart. And they're not going to be able to stop it from rolling back. Time's starting to run out. They have 2 minutes to go, but they have yet to reach the halfway point of this second checkpoint.
Yeah, I think Hickman, only 2 minutes left to hold here for quite a long time left. So Mr. Big Guy getting another early pick on Leitmotif. Leitmotif keeps going down early on this Winston, and it is not working well for his team. But Hill Lewis looking for another good Blade here while the Primal comes out from Banjo. Banjo just getting another in the backline. Banjo is really picking on Freon and that Sonic Mojito, not letting them play with their team and keep them up.
But at the start of this map, I thought it was going to be Hickman that needed to do a composition switch up. Now I think that's Blue Spring South. I think at the moment, they need to switch off of the Winston into a bit more of a brawler. Reinhardt would be great, but I think a Diva could work as well. We saw Leitmotif switch to her a little bit ago on their defensive side. I bet if they tried that again, it could absolutely work, because the Winston is simply not working out. Out comes the Dragon Blade from Hill Lewis. It's not able to grab a kill, but it does do quite a bit of damage. Freon gets a double kill. The Reaper is no more. The DPS has been eliminated from Hickman. Barely surviving is Get Real. Banjo has to go up. And really the last line of defense for Hickman is the Big Monkey Winston. But eventually they're going to get overrun. They don't have Primal Rage up. Somehow, Face Butters gets back in time.
Yeah, so we did see Mr. Big Guy switch from Sojourn onto the Reaper here. Pretty sure that is just to keep Leitmotif in check as the Winston on the other team, because they're just going to keep jumping on him and doing a ton of damage in the face here. Hickman's finally found that stride that they needed. They've been waiting for Leitmotif to engage, and then they're engaging behind him. See, we just watched Leitmotif do the opposite, but once Leitmotif jumps in, the rest of Banjo and his team just kind of jump in behind him and back onto Blue Spring South backline and just take out all of Leitmotif's support. So that's what we're seeing over and over again here, and I agree with you. Blue Spring South needs to make a change.
Might be a little too late for that,
Wow.
though. Navi has a big overclock, but they can't get the rest of it done. Hill Lewis dashes right at the opposing Genji. They've got to stay alive for the rest of the team to get here. We get pushed into overtime. Blue Springs is still half of the point to go before they can get that extra bit of time. And Banjo is not going to be denied. Sonic Mojito has another one. They take down the opposing Lucio, and it's going to push this car along a little bit further. They're nearing the point, and I got a feeling Hickman might let him have it.
No, Hickman's gonna jump in here. They're gonna use the Kiriko ult and get those cooldown boosts are just crazy here. Get Real getting an early pick. Mr. Big Guy getting another one. This is gonna be Hickman's map to win.
So Lewis trying to get close. Base Butter dominating everyone. It's going to be the melee to get it done.
First
Hickman
map
takes the map out. We thought it could have been a quick 3-0 sweep, but at the end, Hickman got it done. Blue Springs ran into a completely brick wall. Solid. The brick was laid perfectly by the Hickman construction team, mind you.
Yes.
There was nothing that Blue Springs could do to get back it. They were hitting it with sledgehammers. They were punching it with the Winston Primal, but nothing was going to move. That was Hickman's map the entire way through.
Yeah, I agree. I also think Hill Lewis has gotten every play of the games in the Blue Spring South.
I want to say that Hill Lewis has absolutely gotten every play of the game. I mean, when it comes to human highlight reel, that's it.
Yep.
That is absolutely it.
Hickman team, I hope you're listening. I think you have finally locked in. I hope you keep it that way, and we can possibly see a reverse sweep out of you. That would be super awesome. Let's take it to map 5 and see what happens. So we're going to go into map 4 here. We're going to a push map. The next one is going to be Toronto, New Queen Street. And Yeah, push. I love push. I think push is a very fun game mode. I know there's a lot of people that aren't super big fans of it, but I think it's fun. It's unique and it's different. So a lot of different playstyles coming out here. Now, hit scan on New Queen Street, very very strong. So I guarantee you we're gonna see some Sojourn. We might see some Ashe. Genji gonna be pretty good here too on a push map. So I think we'll see a lot of the same from both of those teams. So I think everything that they just did in Dorado, we're gonna see again on Toronto here.
Now, I do have a question about the tank comp. Do we think we're going to see some more of those dive-ish Winston styles, or do we think we're going back to the brawls,
I
the
think we're gonna
divas
see
and the
Reinhardt's.
Reinhardts? We thinking Reinhardts?
I think we're gonna see your Reinhardt, especially out of Hickman here. I think they're gonna go Reinhardt. We could transition into a dive comp with the Winston maybe, but I think we're gonna stick with a Reinhardt and maybe have a soldier or a sojourn off on the side. We haven't seen those characters a lot in this game, but this map is really made for them, and they're just really good here. So I think we'll see a lot of comp changes just because of the type of map that we're on. Reinhardt is definitely one of the definitive taints here. Although I would not be surprised if Blue Spring South goes back to their Junker Queen pick because she could be good here as well. And they like this open space and these straight lines that this map is going to provide.
All right. Well, we got a couple of bits of information while we were talking. We got another bathroom break, so I figure we'll go ahead and throw it into intermission for a sec.
Yeah,
While
we
we're
will.
waiting for
Figure out just a few
everybody to
minutes.
get out of the bathroom, get back onto the PC. Hopefully they wash their hands.
Yeah.
But that's not for us to decide. We don't want to talk about that for too long. We'll be back with map 4 of the semifinals in just a few moments.
Gotta let you say, 'cause I back it up. So appreciate I could back it up. And then
Welcome back one more time to the MOSEF Fall Brawl. We are excited to jump into map 4 here with the Hickman versus Blue Springs South game. We're going to go into New Queen Street, a map that we haven't seen yet, another push-style map, and we're hoping for some different comps here. We're glad all the kids are staying hydrated up there on stage. So bathroom breaks, it's a nice little break, but it's a good break to have because we're all drinking water.
Well said.
Except for my Mountain Dew.
Well said. Don't worry about that. Hey, that's off camera.
Yeah.
That's off camera. Only thing we've drinking on stream is water.
True.
So that is all that matters. Enough beverage talk aside. Let's talk about Overwatch. Let's talk about map 4.
This T-Rex.
We'll talk about the Toronto Museum of Technology.
Yeah.
Shout out.
I don't know if that's a real thing, but
shout out to the virtual Toronto Museum of Technology.
And
also a shout out to the Junker Queen. You were predicting that Blue Springs were going to head back to them, and that they are doing.
Hickman, I'm surprised, staying on Banjo on the Winston. I definitely thought they would go Reinhardt here. So, yep. So we do see the leitmotif jumping back on the Junker Queen. There's just a lot of straight avenues where that Rampage ult's going to be really good here. So they're going to be super aggressive going in here, trying to build that Rampage really quickly from leitmotif. So we're going to see how Banjo and the rest of his team plays around that for Hickman.
20 seconds for that robot to unlock, and let's just see how this first fight goes. Of course, Winston should be able to get in pretty deep, but they don't really have a Reinhardt that they have to target with. And Junker Queen has been so good throughout the entire day. It's a really nice teleport onto the coffee shop, but Banjo grabs the kill. No need for the Reaper at all. Hill Lewis on that Genji, taking a couple of shots, but also giving them out. Mr. Big Guy, though, Big Base Butter has one as well, punches Hill Lewis straight into the grave. It's going to be Hickman to start pushing that robot first.
Yeah, Hill Lewis got a little too, his sight sets on Get Real and just really wanted to get that kill on Get Real. So kind of started ignoring the other people fighting around him, and his team was just falling and falling and falling, and then he went down too. So great start for Hickman, really coordinated dive there to take out the Baptiste early, and the rest of the team just fell after that. So we're going to look to see them do the same here. But and Navi gets an early pick on Peaches with the grenade there from Cassidy. So looks like this one's going to turn back into Blue Springs South's favor.
Yeah, the Orisa switch looks to be really, really good. A couple of assists coming out from them as well. So it's going to get pushed off the other way. A very solid start for Hickman, though. They don't quite make it to a checkpoint. But 40 meters is nothing to turn your nose at.
So
especially on your first attempt.
Here's the thing now. Now we have this Orisa out. Hickman can do one of two things. Banjo cannot fight this Orisa. They will never win the Orisa matchup with all of Orisa's armor. So Banjo needs to either always jump behind and get to the rest of the team, which he's trying to do here, or he needs to switch to something else. I would not be surprised if they end up switching to Zarya here. Zarya is the best Orisa counter right now, because if Banjo can't consistently get into the back line of the Blue Springs South team, that Orisa is going to be too much for him. So I think he might be going for just this Primal Rage and seeing what he can do with it, and then switching off is what I would imagine he's going to do.
The support ultimates are up and available for Blue Springs South as whenever they choose to use it. The beat, as well as the BAP window. We also have the Deadeye available for Navi as well, but at the moment, they don't need it. The window does not get popped up, and Creon's still able to get that kill onto Banjo with Hill Lewis and Navi, the DPS of Blue Springs South, doing everything they need to and more. As they near that first checkpoint, nobody of Hickman's going to stop it. They're going to get that first point.
Yeah, Get Real was looking for a blade from behind there, but wisely saw the rest of his team start to go down and knew that he shouldn't commit that resource there. So look, we have all ults online for Hickman except for Kiriko's, but she's almost there. We are going to see the Primal Rage get popped, as well as the sound barrier from Blue Springs South. And we saw off screen that the Orisa popped ult as well and did get a kill with it. Hill Lewis deflecting Mr. Big Guy's ult back into him. That is a shame for the Reaper there. So Banjo still alive, going back to spawn, hopefully to switch here.
Keep on pushing it up, nearly doubling what Hickman has done. By the time that they get there, it will be over 80. And Blue Springs South still has quite a few ultimates available. They only use that sound barrier to win that fight. And I mean, you got to give a shout out to Hill Lewis and that deflection right back into the Reaper. That didn't happen. That fight could have easily gone the other way. Banjo getting bullied out. They're trying to get as much health back from it as possible, but Leitmotif gives them no chance at it. It is a huge javelin spin and spear straight through the Sigma. And the fight, despite going the way of Hickman, you gotta commend the Orisa play.
Yeah, so Banjo switches to Sigma there. I was predicting the Zarya, but the Banjo comes out on Sigma instead. Got a shout out to his mythic skin. Good job finishing the battle pass. So we do see some people in the back line of that fight from Hickman finishing that up, and they're already on the payload. So Orisa Leitmotif was still pushed up and didn't know, I don't think, that all that stuff was happening behind him. So he was focused on taking out Banjo, but the rest of his team was falling. Wow, that was perfectly timed on that BAP window there.
Blue Spring South trying to get that robot back where it was before. Leitmotif, of course, getting close, doing everything with that spear that they need to. Get Real is the only one left on this robot, and eventually they are going to go back down. And that robot starts their trek back over to that first point. They've crossed it as they look to push that weight a little bit farther than what they had last time. Oh, what a Dragon Blade. Hill Lewis has one. They've got the Lucio trapped out. How in the world does he survive that?
So Lucio popped his beat as soon as he heard the blade come out. Unfortunately, it was too late for Peaches on the Baptiste. Peaches went down really quickly. Banjo nearing an ult as well as Mr. Big Guy. I wonder if they'll try and combo those here. We might see that, but it's going to be pretty close to time on their last defense here as Blue Spring South approaches the end of New Queen Street.
Seems like Hickman is holding up for those ultimates. And out comes the artillery strike from Mr. Big Guy. Does not quite get any kills. Deadeye gets popped out by Navi. No kills. Banjo has their Gravitic Flux up and active whenever they choose to use it. Mr. Big Guy and Peaches both teaming up, getting out those Baptiste Immortality Field. The Terra Surge is absolutely incredible. Gravitic Flux needs to land here, but Banjo can't quite get it done. They keep on pushing it down. Mr. Big Guy's the last line of defense for Hickman. Mr. Big Guy barely gets Leitmotif taken out.
Yeah, Get Real in the off screen there got 3 kills as Genji. So great job from him to save his team there. Mr. Big Guy helping him out and cleaning it up. And now we have Base Butter back as Lucio ferrying his little team and Robot back toward midway through the map here. They really want to get it past midway because that'll take away Blue Spring South's spawn advantage. Remember that Blue Spring South having it pushed past that tick mark does get a forward spawn. So Hickman needs to take care of Leitmotif here. He's just kind of running rampant behind and is about to take out Base Butter. Oh my gosh, he got away though. Get Real does get one on Nabi early, so good pick there for him on Genji. Window comes out, odd placement for that one. Not a lot of people there to capitalize on that, but we will see what Blue Spring South can do with it. Doesn't look like a lot. Looks like Hickman's going to pull through on that one. And they are going to get rid of Blue Spring South's forward spawn, which is a good thing for them.
Robot gets switched over into the red side, but they got to push that weight so far. They have not even reached that first checkpoint yet. 3 minutes to do so. And with Blue Spring South, all of the progress that they made, if they get a couple more team fights, they are going to have a really easy route straight to the Hickman spawn. And there's going to be nothing that they can do. The artillery strike is going to get caught out by the Genji. Dragon Blade gets popped up. It's a small room. You're not going to be able to escape from it. It's another sound barrier that gets popped in counter, but it's not enough to save everyone. Genji goes down. Banjo has got to keep themselves alive for everyone else to do some damage, but Banjo is really struggling. It's a huge rock. Stunning. Can't get the kill on it, but things have started to equalize out. And as I say that, it leaves Hickman up with just one player, and Banjo is that player. And they are immediately taken out yet again.
Yeah, the beginning of that fight started a great job to the Hickman supports there. Peachy's able to keep his Bastion alive, even though Bastion couldn't do anything, as Genji came through behind and tried to get a kill on him. And then that Base Butter Soundberry, once again, saving everybody except for Get Real, who got caught outside of it from getting destroyed by the Genji Blade. So great job to the Hickman supports. Unfortunately, their DPS and tank not able to follow through with any kills for their own team. We're going to see if they can keep it here. Blue Spring South did get that forward spawn back, so any kills here, not as much of a spawn advantage as they would like.
Nabi with a double kill with the Deadeye, and the Terra Surge is absolutely beautiful. It does so much damage. It disables the Immortality Shield, and in the end, it takes down the Baptiste. That robot is so close to ending this game out. Get Real and Peaches is all the ults that they have. It's the window as well as the Dragon Blade. Has to dash in, stay on that robot as long as possible, but there's so much damage that's already done. Nabi goes down, but Leitmotif has a beautiful spear straight through the heart of Peaches. Get Real has to do a little bit more, and that they do. It's a triple for Get Real, and Base Butter takes down the Orisa. One last chance for Hickman.
Yeah, well done by Get Real there. Damien didn't even need to use his Dragon Blade, though he had it ready. I kept waiting for him to pop it, but he decided that he could get that done without it. So great job to him, and he has that resource still in his pocket. Hickman's going to basically have to push this, as you said, kind of uninterrupted. They cannot stop one more time, so they are not going to be able to drop a team fight to Blue Spring South here. They're going to have to keep going and keep going with their robot until they reach the end. So, oh no. That is a huge pick for Hill Lewis on Mr. Big Guy behind, but Blue Spring South lose their tank instead. We see picks back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Who's going to come out on top? Looks like it's going to be Hickman.
It's beautiful stuff. And this is the last push of the game. There's no doubts about it. Hickman needs to make it to that checkpoint. And I got a feeling they're going to go to overtime.
So they do
There
have,
it is.
They do have that forward spawn now. Any of their picks that go down will get a slightly better spawn advantage. Get Real looking to go behind for this Dragon Blade here. See if he gets able to do anything good with it here. Probably going to try and get the kill onto Baptiste first. And the sound barrier does come out from the Blue Spring South side with Hill Lewis's Dragon Blade, where he's just able to get too much before Get Real can respond.
No chance for Hickman. The last one falls, and Blue Spring South have punched their ticket to the grand finals. They deny the robot. They got so far on their own side. Hickman had one heck of a rebuttal, but it was not enough. The Dragon Blade was it, and Get Real was the straw that broke the camel's back. Play of the game. Not this time, Hill Lewis. It's Get Real.
Yeah. Get Real finally stealing a play of the game from Hill Lewis in the last few games. Well done to Hickman. A great, strong match here played, and great job taking that one map last time off of Blue Spring South here. So we will see Blue Spring South in the finals versus Vianney from the other match. So make sure you stay. We're still going to talk for a minute, but make sure you do stay in tuned because those finals are coming up quickly.
So here we are.
Here we are.
Michael, we have reached the end of our line. We have our grand finalists set. St. John Vianney and Blue Springs
South. Yep.
It does not get better than this.
Yeah,
this
it's going to be a
for,
great matchup for sure.
This is for state. We started with 8, and then we dropped it to 4, and then we dropped it to 2, and in about 30 minutes to 45 minutes, we're going to have one MOSEF Fall Brawl winner.
Yep. And well done to Hickman. I know that they worked really hard to get here, so they're going to drop to that constellation, and they're going to hope for that 3rd place prize. But great job to them taking that map off of Blue Spring South there on map 3. Unfortunately, they just couldn't hash it out on New Queen Street. So great job once again to Blue Spring South on making it straight to the finals here. I mean, we got to watch both of their matches there, and they were really, really unstoppable. I mean, we hardly saw them falter. Only lost one map and of those 6 that they won there. So Vianney's got a tall order to fill in that matchup.
The tallest. I mean, 6 out of 7 maps is absolutely unbelievable. And one other GG's to Hickman. Put up an amazing fight, but Blue Springs are not going to be bested anytime soon. Vianney, once again, insanely tall task. This is unstoppable force versus immovable object.
Yep.
And you're only going to find it here.
Yes. So Vianney, also their first appearance at a MOSEF State Overwatch event.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a first v first. Both of these teams this is their first time coming to MOSEF State for Overwatch. So great job on both of them punching that ticket to the finals and making it in there. Vianney also won the MOSEF Rocket League finals.
Yeah, just
yesterday.
last night.
So they're looking for a back-to-back win on both titles here. We're going to see if they can do it. Probably going to go ahead and take a break here and hope to see you guys back for the grand finals.
Give me all you've got if you're prepared to break the silence. I'll be out in the sunshine, running beside the lions. I've been feeling down, but I've been looking up, afraid to fall. God, I've been so down, can you pick me up? Don't let me fall. Can you show me how to fix this mess? I am down and on my knees and I may fall as I'm so close to the edge. Can you show me how to fix this mess? I am down and on my knees and I may fall as I'm so close to the edge. The truth is a damn hard pill to swallow. I'm reaching out, but all I feel is hollow. I wanna make you work, but all I do is make you worse. to stop this world from spinning. Like Superman, you were the only one to find the strength in all that I was dealing with this life, like kryptonite. And if you keep me close, every minute in this hourglass you hold. Oh, 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 and when I fall too deep, will you be there when I wake to save me? A superhero in your sleep. A superhero in your sleep. You called my soul when I was falling. You moved the clouds to stop me from hitting the ground. In every goal there was a meaning. For this love ain't kryptonite. And if you keep me close, every minute in this hourglass you hold. Oh, 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 and when I fall too deep, will you be there when I wake to save me? A superhero in your sleep. A superhero in your sleep. Oh, oh, and when I fall too deep, will you be there when I wake to save me?
We fell out of love like shooting stars, came crashing down, and we're building back up again now. I see your heart, see your mind, see all you hide. I won't let you go, can't let this fight. When you lose yourself, I'll be right beside you. I see your heart, see your mind, see all you hide. I won't let you go, can't let this fight. When you lose yourself, I'll be right beside you. I'll be right beside you. See your heart, see your mind, see all you hide. I won't let you go, can't let this fight. When you lose yourself, I'll be right beside you.
baby. Yeah, why you mad? I got a bag, bro. Name hot in these streets, no Tabasco. But I'm so stubbed, that's a fact, yo. And if you think I'm frontin', you can run it back, yo. Go and run it back. You know that I run it. Everything you wanna do, I already done it. And I got your little boo telling me she love me. I got this one, that one. Damn, it's gonna be a long night. Yeah. You know. I said, damn, it's gonna be a long night. Yeah, let's go. Look. I told Shorty drop it for a real one. Yeah. Go ahead and pop it, let me feel some. Do it for the boy with a bag now. Movie star money making everybody act out. I don't lie to these women, if I want them, then I tell them. Don't get fly for these women, I was born with these propellers. All my haters cannot beat me, so I call them acapellas. See, I'm only getting better, you only get jealous. You know that I run it. Everything you wanna do, I already done it. And I got your little boo telling me she love me. I got this one, that one. Damn, it's gonna be a long night. You know, I got this one, that one. Damn, it's gonna be a long night. Yeah. MD. JPB. You already know, baby. Yeah. I said, I already done it. Everything you wanna do, I already. You know that yeah. I said, you know that yeah. Damn, it's gonna be a long night.
Baby, it's whatever. All this ever, but you long gone, it don't matter. Ride or die, that's been the deal. The light of your body got disappear. But if it don't play that for me, I'm out of it. I lick my gun and then I'm done. I'm out of it. No man to tell me you're no good. I'm brushing away, the weight of you, of my shoulder. So done with my cigarette, and when all the smoke is clear, I'm brushing away the weight of you. Don't need no man. Tell me you're no good. I'm brushing away the weight of you, of my shoulder. So done with my cigarette, and when all the smoke is clear, I'm brushing away the weight of you. Don't need no man. Waste another day.
Eyes on my display. You say we need a change, and I feel that you mean it. You mean it. But you're so right, we're losing track of time, buying things online, and it's not like we need them. We don't need them. So can we just slow down? The only thing I'll do is lay here next to you. We need to slow down. Embrace the love we found. For you and I were safe and sound. And we just slow down. For you and I were safe and sound. We were on the run, rocking around the clock. Now all we need is right here in front of us. In front of us. So can we just slow down? The only thing I'll do is lay here next to you. We need to slow down. Embrace the love we found. For you and I were safe and sound. Can we just slow down? And we just slow waste another day. Eyes on my display. You say we need a change, and I feel that you mean it. But you're so right, we're losing track of time, buying things online, it's not like we need them. Safe and sound.
stop it. Trouble in my city, but you know I'm across it. Got a 40 on my hip and I'm liable to spark it. Throw down these hits, my click is indivisible. I aim, you duck, I squeeze, now you invisible. I'm not afraid of getting physical. All these different chemicals are fogging up my visuals. Bloods on my hands, got slugs on my gunners. Yo, we notorious, we ain't no runners. Bloods on my hands, got slugs on my gunners. Yo, we some warriors, they ain't gon' done us. Bloods on my hands, got slugs on my gunners. Bloods on my hands, got slugs on my gunners. Put on my strap, put on the beat, put on the map, put on my team. Take out every motherfucker in between. Know what I mean? Better myself, better my aim, better my rap, better my name. Killing rappers on my hang on by their chains for the fame. Never thought I would it, now I'm running this. You don't wanna follow me, now I'm in front of this. I ran in the jungle with the troops, trying to get it what it does. Battling and I ain't never lose. We some motherfucking warriors. Cover the map and still ain't know where you can find me at. Journey through the mind of an insomniac. I ain't never sleep, staying ready, keep an eye out for the fakes. For the snakes, load a clip and I'ma pull it, something shakes. Never go to battle if you plan to lose. Life a game of chess, you gotta plan the moves. Middle fingers up, I'm not a fan of rules. Fighting for the right to live in peace and not like animals.
Bloods on my hands, got slugs on my gunners. You'll be notorious, we ain't no runners. Bloods on my hands, got slugs on my gunners. You'll be some warriors, they ain't no gunners. Bloods on my hands, got slugs on my gunners. Bloods on my hands, got slugs on my gunners.
Put on my strap, put on the beam, put on the map, put on my team. Take out every motherfucker in between. Know what I mean? Better myself, better my aim, better my rap, better my name. Killing rappers on my hang on by their chains for the fame. Never thought I would it, now I'm running this. You don't wanna follow me, now I'm in front of this. I ran in the jungle with the troops, trying to get it what it
Hello, everyone. We are still here at Ozarks Technical Community College for the MOSEF Fall Brawl. We only have one match to go, but we have been having a lot of technical issues. We're trying to get these resolved as quick as possible, but at the moment, we cannot promise anything for you. We're trying our absolute hardest. We're going to do our best to get you coverage of the grand finals, but we're not going to make any promises. Best case scenario, we're back in about maybe 15 to 30 minutes, but it might be longer than that. So just make sure that you keep the notifications for MOSEF on because you want to know if we're going to be back, which hopefully we will. But once again, no promises. We'll see you hopefully whenever the grand finals are about to get started. Don't go anywhere.